In this video I shall discuss some short questions cum short notes on post-structuralism literary theory. Now my dear students, I welcome you to my educational channel. The name of my educational channel is Priyankar Datta. Here you will find video presentations on English language and literature of school level, college level as well as of competitive examinations. Binary. According to Derrida, Western culture expresses its thoughts in terms of binaries: white, black, masculine, feminine, cause, effect, conscious, unconscious, presence, absence, signifier, signified, etc. Derrida thinks that these are not simply binaries. Rather, they are hierarchies, even though slightly. He also contends that since the sign system is unstable and relational, there is no point in taking the two elements as representing extreme positions. Derrida has deconstructed a number of these binaries including speech, writing and signifier, signified. He does not want to reverse these hierarchies because that would be adhering to the system which he wants to deconstruct. Instead, he wants to erase the boundary between the binaries and thus to question the system of hierarchy. Phonocentrism. The term phonocentrism implies an attitude of acceptance of the supremacy of speech over writing. For example, we read Plato because he cannot speak beyond the grave. Moreover, we write postcards because we want to communicate with someone who is absent. Western thought believes that creation itself has taken place because God said, "Let there be light." Derrida is obviously against the idea conveyed by the term phonocentrism. A potential weapon for Derrida to combat phonocentrism is that both difference and difference have the same pronunciation but different spelling. This difference being evident only in writing goes against the concept of phonocentrism. According to Derrida, phonocentrism causes logocentrism. Supplement. The word supplement comes from the French verb suppléer, which means to substitute as well as to supplement. Derrida uses the term supplement to suggest the constantly shifting relationship between speech and writing. According to him, each term thus substitutes and supplements the other. Thus, the concept of supplement opposes the idea of phonocentrism. The concept of binary opposition, which is the key to structuralism, is also opposed by this term since rather than opposition, deference is highlighted. Logocentrism. It is Derrida who uses the term logocentric to describe Western thought and culture since the time of Plato. The term conveys the belief that ultimate truth can be determined. This ultimate truth may be the Platonic idea, or God, or truth, or essence. It is difficult to detach the concept of presence from the concept of logocentrism. Derrida believes that there is no such ultimate referent and so presence turns out to be arbitrary. After all, presence is not an ultimate referent. Derrida is obviously against the idea conveyed by the term logocentrism. Difference. Derrida uses the term difference to show the impossibility of arriving at a single and definite meaning. Thus, the concept of difference opposes the idea of logocentrism. The word comes from the French verb différer, meaning to differ or to differ. Derrida argues that to differ also implies the sense of to differ. Thus, he argues that meaning is continuously deferred because each signifier leads us to an endless sequence of signifiers which have no determinate meaning. The term aporia is associated with the theory of deconstruction. It refers to some textual contradiction which makes meaning undecidable. To speak precisely, the term refers to the gap or lacuna or blind spot or moment of self-contradiction between rhetoric and logic, between what it manifestly means to say and what it is nonetheless constrained to mean. The concept of aporia is key to Derrida's theory of difference. Trace. The term trace refers to the multiple possible meanings that a spoken or written utterance is deemed to have. These multiple meanings are not fully present because they differ from what the utterance is deemed to signify. They are not totally absent because they remind us of the meaning we assign to that utterance by virtue of their difference. Thus, trace conveys the uncertain jeu play of language. The concept of trace is thus an aspect of Derrida's concept of difference. Transcendental signified. A transcendental signified is a signified which transcends any single signifier or all signifiers. Thus, it refers to a meaning which cannot be represented by any adequate signifier. The idea of God is probably the best example of a transcendental signified. To be explicit, God cannot be represented by any signifier, yet God is the thing that all signifiers in a system ultimately refer to because God created the whole system. Structuralism looks upon all philosophical patterns as aiming at a center. Derrida looks upon this as a kind of fallacy because according to him, in order to find a center, we need to analyze a new system, not the system of which we are a part. Simulation. Simulation as a concept owes to Baudrillard. It refers to the problem of relating the original with its copy. As there is nothing original, the copies become more important than the original. From the perspective of post-structuralism, we can say that the signifier refers to the signified, which in turn becomes a reservoir of other signifiers. Thus the original signifier eludes our grasp. Hyperreal. The concept of hyperreal owes to Baudrillard and is associated with the concept of simulation. The hyperreal is the world of simulations. Simulation refers to the problem of relating the original with its copy. For example, the reality of the First World War for us is the visual image of it as we find in a newspaper or a magazine. This image becomes important because we shall never come to grasp the reality, the real experience of seeing the First World War. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any question or you want a specific video, please feel free to comment. In this video I shall discuss some short questions